Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Michael for Spirit Comics. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please do subscribe and smash that bell like She-Hulk so you won't miss any new uploads. Also, if you enjoy this review, like it and share it with others so they can enjoy it as well. And don't forget to leave your comments. This is my review of Marvel 2-in-1 Issue 1. Part 1 of Fate of the Four, featuring The Thing and Human Torch. I like the cover, how Ben and Johnny just come out smashing. It was a surprise when this came out, because Marvel hadn't been publishing anything that was related to the Fantastic Four, because they did not have the full rights to do that. I think because the rights were owned by one of the studios that made the movies or something. That's why they couldn't make any Fantastic Four comic books. Anyway, we open up with the story. It's at a speedway where Johnny Storm is racing around the track. He's coming in fourth behind 3 other cars, but he's starting to spin out of control. And boom, his car goes up in flames. But he, being Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, he's able to walk away from it. This is a fast burn, as it says. Written by Chip Zdarsky. And then we see, little what looks like a flashback, but it's not really a flashback. It's just a short page that tells the history of the Fantastic Four, how they came together, and it is an introduction by this woman for something called the Fantastic Ward. For people who are explorers, and it's a $100,000 grant for scientific exploration. And the Thing, Benjamin Grimm, is there to give a speech about it, and he goes on about how he was never one to give speeches, that it was Reed Richards that did it better. But anyway, he does a good job, and they all applaud him, and they, just smile and shake his hand, and he goes outside and talks to this strange woman who asked him for a cigarette, and he says that he gave him up years ago. And she said that she did as well, but she just collects them in case she ends up in prison for murdering rooms full of boring people. And he says, not a science fan? And she says just the opposite. And he introduces himself. And they chat for a little bit, but then she says this: see you in there after you clean up the mess. And he says, mess? With no clue what she's talking about. Then we see this. Spider-Man is being tossed around by a guy who apparently was trying to rob a jewelry store. And the Thing steps in and goes, Kathoom! And stops him. And I love this. Where are you off to, Spidey? Grand opening of an Applebee's? And he says, you, Dunce, I'm here to support you. He says, you gonna ask me for money? He says, well, the tux is a rental, and I stupidly waived the insurance. Anyway, he tells Ben that he's worried about Johnny Storm. He hasn't been himself lately. He's been reckless, and and apparently nobody will talk to him. I mean, he won't let anybody near. So he gives Ben the keys to the old Baxter building that has all their stuff in it. So he takes the keys, heads over to the old Baxter building, and finds his stuff, as we see right there. And an old Daily Bugle article of the four of them. And he's remembering. And then we see this, which is not really a flashback, but it's more like his memories. And this is the way it was cut in the comic book. Because if you look to the right, you can't see the entire speech bubble. And that's the exact way it is in the comic book. The physical copy, I mean. But what he's remembering is more important. Susan Richards telling him that if something happens to her, Reed, or the kid, to take care of the kids, Franklin and Val, and Johnny. And she says this, which is really touching. I'm his sister, but you're his rock. Promise. But I really wish they had not done that with the speech bubbles, cutting them off like that. And he says, Susie, I ain't no rock. I just played one on TV. And then he hears this voice, lost in Revere Grimm. And it's Dr. Doom. And he's all contemplative, contemplative, contemplating weird phrases and stuff like this one. The past is a trap, Benjamin. Well, yeah, it can be, but I wouldn't expect that to come from Dr. Doom. But he's trying to be a good guy, because as we see here, Ben says, I ain't buying your good guy act, Doom. So start talking before I start clobbering. Anyway, he says that he broke into the Baxter building and was trying to find anything that Reed Richards left around that he gain access to. Ben does not like that very much, so he, cusses, as we can see, see there at the top, and then hits Doom, but is deflected by some sort of force field. Your instinct toward violence is never ending. You broke into my home and stole my what? My inheritance? Anyway, he says, I'm bequeathing your inheritance. Please forgive my minor transgression. And so he hands him this little trinket. And he activates it, and a hologram of Reed Richards appears, saying that he had several recordings to be activated, depending on the situation which it was activated in, because Reed Richards was, the brain of the outfit. And he says, keep on exploring. And he says that he was leaving him something called the Multisect, a tool that can access an area known as the Multiplane, a nexus for seemingly infinite universes. And it's a device that cannot fall into the wrong hands. So apparently the Multiplane is bigger than the multiverse. And he says, retrieve it and live a fantastic life. And Johnny Storm is flying out into space. He's testing his powers, and he starts to flame off, and falls to the earth with a big thud. And Ben sees him because he went right back up. And I love that. Hey, you flaming numbskull! What, Ben? What are you doing here? He says, apparently I'm here to save your worthless butt. What is this? Some kind of cry for help? And Johnny is carrying around a chip on his shoulder. I didn't ask you to come, Ben. Nah, Spidey did, though. And he says, oh, for Spider-Man? Really? That guy worries about everyone. He's like some sort of superhero grandmother. Leave me alone. I like that. Superhero grandmother. And he says, get your hands off me! And he's just trying to help. But eventually, he calms down and confesses that he's losing his powers. Johnny does. And he says that he can't flame on for as long like he used to. And he says the most important part of my life was the team. Our team. And now that's gone. If I lose my powers, what'll I have then? And he remembers Susan saying, no matter what, take care of him. And this is where Ben Grimm saw the reason, I believe, to lie straight to Johnny Storm's face. Reed left me a message. I just got it because that Rat Doom stole it. They may still be alive. He thought that up right there on the spot. And Dr. Doom is watching them all this time, tracking them. He says, oh, Benjamin, a lie? Really? Why would you say such a thing? And of course, Dr. Doom, being the unfeeling jerk that he is, does not realize Ben did it because he needed to give Johnny a purpose. And he could see the lack of purpose in Johnny. He could hear it from his words. And I get that. I really do. So that was issue 1. And there's a little short story in the back here. Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and me, Ben Grimm. These people, well, they're my family. This is like decades ago. And it's just a retelling of their origin. They got exposed to cosmic rays on their first travel into space. And he warned Reed, but they went. But he didn't listen. They crashed back on Earth. He says Reed got all stretchy. Sue could turn invisible. Johnny could light himself on fire. And he says, and me, it turned into a pile of rocks. And so together we became the Fantastic Four. Like all families, we fought. On good days, it was us against bad guys. On bad days, it was us against each other. We had more good days than bad, but nothing lasts forever. Johnny eventually wound up with the Inhumans, which he did. I remember that. He says, and me, well, I'm a pilot, so what better place for me than in the stars with the Guardians of the Galaxy. No matter where we go, though, or what we've been through, we belong together. Reed and Sue are gone now, but Johnny and I, well, we're still family, even if they argue. And family sticks together. Marvel 2-in-1. And that short story was just there in the back. And I like short stories. That just, that they have a point, and they're so brief that that there's no room for, any sort of drama. They're just to be enjoyed. Well, I thought issue 1 of Marvel 2-in-1 was really, really good. It was a great way to set up a new storyline, and I enjoyed it a lot. It's getting Ben and Johnny back together, and it set up Doctor Doom to have to be the person who is not really the good guy that he pretends to be. I won't say more than that. What did you guys think of this issue? Leave your comments down below. If you're new to my channel, Spirit Comics, please do subscribe and smash that bell like She-Hulk so you will not miss any new uploads. Also, please do like and share this video with others so they can enjoy it as well. Till next time, true readers.